Ever since I was younger, I had a fascination with mysteries. The obscure, the unsolved, and the unknowable. From interesting to disturbing, harmless to dangerous. Join me as I uncover rabbit holes and track down information on a plethora of topics you may know little about. This is Atlas Investigates. Okay. Man, it's hot in here. Hello everyone, I'm Atlas, and this is the Chronological Chris Chan Iceberg. Welcome back. If you're unaware, Chris Chan is a person on the internet that many people are familiar with, or have at least heard of. He holds the title of the most documented person on the internet, because of the sheer amount of facts that are available regarding his exceedingly strange life. This iceberg was created by the user Piccadilly on icebergcharts.com and was posted on the 8th of February 2022. This is part 13 of this chronologically organized iceberg, and I encourage you to go to my channel and watch the first 12 parts if you haven't already. While we're on the subject, I'll encourage you to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, and leave a comment if you have something to say. I read them all. If you'd like to see more frequent updates from me, you can follow my Twitter, which will be linked in the description and be listed on screen right now. If you've already done all that, then let's begin. The Trolling Era, 2007 to 2010. Before we get into things, I want to let you know that there are a few overlapping sagas that occurred during this time period. In this episode, we're going to be covering part of the Asperchu saga, more of the Wikipedia saga, a bit of the Emily saga, and the very beginning of the Surfshack Tito saga. In order to keep things chronological, I'm going to cover the events as they happen in the timeline, as opposed to going saga by saga. So keep an eye out for the title that'll appear on screen and let you know which saga the event I'm talking about is connected to. Let's begin. This was my fault. On January 1st, 2010, Chris would place ads for Coca-Cola and the James Cameron movie Avatar, which Chris believed held anti-gay messaging, onto the Wikipedia. He wrote about supporting a boycott of Coke's rival brand, Pepsi, by the American Family Association, again, for anti-gay reasons. Funnily enough, Chris didn't seem to realize that the AFA is also anti-porn, which would be a big problem for him. Either that or his hatred of homosexuals outweighed his need to jerk off. In any case, the Wikipedia allegedly received a cease and desist notice from both Coca-Cola and 20th Century Fox due to the unauthorized use of ads for their products, which caused COGSDev to temporarily take the website offline. On January 2nd, Chris would upload a pair of videos taking responsibility for the Wikipedia being offline.
Captain's log, stardate January 2nd, 2010. Okay, well currently the Wikipedia is down on account of a mistake I made with the Coca-Cola ads. I thought free advertisement was okay, but it turns out I was wrong. But anyway, I put the majority of the ads on there because number one of the mislabelings, and I'm sick and tired of those. I'm straight, goddammit. And plus of Jack Darius, I put the more offensive ads that were on there before the less offensive ads that we have he has left up there now. But anyway, with the addressing the Coca-Cola company, I hope it isn't. I pray that it is not too late, and that they get this. I apologize for misusing the label, and if you will grant me the chance, I will be happy to remove those. I'll be happy to remove all traces of those images from the website post haste. And also to the CWCsicle, I apologize for this. I apologize for putting up this trouble. I feel terrible about this. So, yeah, don't sell yet. Coca-Cola company, do not Go figure the fickle Barry cable on my camera. Anyway, Coca-Cola Company, I apologize, and you don't have to address the Wikipedia webmaster. Take your complaints to me. I'm the one responsible for making that happen. It was my mistake, and I accept full responsibility of it. Anyway, with that, I hope we get the Wikipedia back up as soon as possible, so I can undo the mistake of the placement of the Coke ads, and I deeply apologize. To most everybody, have a pleasant day.
After the ads were removed, the Wikipedia would be restored on January 3rd. The Asperpedia. On January 7th, Jack Thaddeus's gay ads on the Wikipedia disappeared. However, they would be replaced with ads for the Asperchu comic, done by Alec Benson Leary himself. These ads would also advertise the Asperpedia, a website much like the Wikipedia, where all existing and future Asperchu comics could be viewed. Fan mail could be sent and responded to by Alec Benson Leary, and articles on aspects of the comic and its creator could be read. Down with Asperchu. Chris uploaded this video on January 9th, having seen the new ads on the Wikipedia. He was very unhappy with the Asperchu comic and its creator, and so decided to wish death upon him, calling his comic fanfiction and a parody. He uses the term parody as an insult, despite occasionally defending Sonichu's legality because it is a parody. He also uses fanfiction as an insult, despite that being pretty much exactly what his Sonichu comic is.
Currently wearing my ring on my medal. Captain's log, stardate January 9th, 2010. Well, on the one hand, I am pleased to announce that I have finally got through the homosexuals' thick skulls that I am straight and I do not care for their kind. On the other hand, it backfired on me because Alec something paid off Jack Thaddeus for the ad space and now is wrongfully advertising his fan fiction, and I emphasize fact fiction, and parodic Asperchu. Not only is he trying to play on any links between Asperger's and autism, which there are not. I'm not saying similarities, I'm saying links. Anyway, his character not only is a parody and vulgar fanfiction of my Sonichu character, but he plays off of my past Buddha belly and my masculine bosoms. He is not to be trusted, and his comics are not to be read. And therefore, I am making the statement that I have absolutely no link or connections with him whatsoever, Mr. Alec something and his Asperchu. And therefore, with all that, it is everything that he draws is not in canon of my Sonichu comics or the Wikipedia whatsoever. So completely abandon him, I say so. I have spoken there. And also with his placement of my character in his comics, I am at this moment, and this date, verifying that he is in the wrong. He is in the wrong, especially with doing it with his homosexual take, and I do not care for that. No links, I have no connections or establishments or anything canon between his comics and mine, and his parodic copycat parody of my Wikipedia. So at this moment, I will leave you with that. Down with Alec and his frickin' Asperchu. Little son of a bitch think he can try to bite me off. He got another thing coming. Die, you son of a bitch. Alec, die. But as for everybody else, and as for most everybody else, I say peace, stay safe, and have a good day. And continue to enjoy the Sonichu comics, 2 pages a day. Bye now.
12th January 2010. On this day, Chris would send a message to COGSDev demanding to be given control over the ad space on the Wikipedia's front page so that he could take down the Asperchu ads that had been placed there. Coggs would refuse, stating that Jack Thaddeus had paid for the ad space and he had worked out a deal with Alec, meaning there was nothing that Chris could do about it until 2011, when the deal expired. Thwarted, Chris would instead release a video called 12th January 2010, where he curses and rages at the camera, as well as a part 2, where he complains about the state of the mailbag, addresses claims that he created Asperchu himself, puts down rumors about Sonichu being gay and Rosechu secretly being a man, and rages some more.
Captain's Log, January 12, 2010. First off, a couple of small announcements. I'm possibly in talks with AD Vision about a project, possibly, but also, hi Ginger. Alright, so with that aside, let's get down to the meat here. Again, down with that goddamn Alec. I mean, he paid off that goddamn Jack Thaddeus just so he could take over the stupid ad space. I mean, I would have preferred Jack Thaddeus back at this point. God damn it! You're ticking me off here. I'm gonna come after you. I'm gonna come after you. I'm gonna ruin you, Larry. Just so angry. Just further update. I am so sick and tired of having to deal with all these people who have so many goddamn misunderstandings and mislabelings. First off, Asperchu is not mine. I am sick and tired of being misassociated with him. He is not mine, and I would never care to associate with him because he is a bunch of crap. He just looks like a parody of me with a Buddha belly and exaggerated man boobs. I am so sick and tired of him. And also, Rosechu has always been a woman. If you look on page 3 of book number 1, it says right there that Rosechu was a girl, quote-unquote, girl Rosechu. And Sonichu has been straight the whole time. He's always been straight. Rosechu's always been a woman. If only people would just understand me better and quit the mislabelings and the misunderstandings and quit making offensive comments and offensive questions and offensive statements, then maybe I would feel more at peace. I'll leave it at that for now.
It is unknown what exactly AD Vision is, as well as who the Ginger persona is. These are likely trolling schemes that never came into fruition. 14th January 2010. In a video released on this date, Chris claims that it is okay to curse other people and wish death and misfortune upon them, and believes that he is still a good person despite that.
Captain's Log, Stardate, January 14th, 2010. Well, I have just looked up on the Wikipedia and noticed the jumbo image that Alec and his associates have put on there. And yes, I'll admit I have cursed them, though they probably just assumed that. Aside from my being angry at them, but regardless of that, in response to that, as well as they're questioning me as an individual as such, I mean, a lot of us have cursed people. Everybody has cursed somebody in their lives, or say a curse word or whatever. But I'm still a good individual human being. It's just that, like them, with their mental problems, and me and my mental problems, when we go into defense mode in response to something that really offends us, we can be mean. And that's just our defense. Like, you know, it's just like the instinct of a man. Someone offends us, we want to punch that sucker right in the face. Every individual man, with or without a mental handicap, can agree with me on that. But still, I have given you Sonichu for the past almost 10 years now. Well, up to anyway, because the website didn't go up until 2004. But still, it will be almost 10 years now since I first started him on March 17, 2000. Or the 10-year anniversary, March 17, 2010. Anyway, yeah, regardless of the incoming call here, I say, trust the individual who you've been trusting this whole time. Don't trust this new guy. He's just trying to take my fame. Please think about that, my loyal fans. Stay safe and have a good day.
What's the name? Christian Chandler? Chris Chan. This was another video uploaded on January 14th where Chris sings his own version of the song Mr. Plow Remix that was featured on The Simpsons. Alongside his poor lyrics and poorer singing, he plays harmonica, failing to produce anything of musical substance.
Well, with indebted gratitude to Mr. Matt Groening and Mr. Moby, here's my version of that song with my name on it. Say, what's the name? Christian Chandler. What's that name? Christian Chandler. What's the name? Christian Chandler. C-H-R-I-S-C-H-A-N. Say, what's the name? Christian Chandler. You don't need to worry, I'm drawing here. Drawing in color, my pen and marker. My papa was chicken and named me Christian Chandler. Afternoon before the sunrise, I have a new page for you. Open your eyes. The new plots are a big surprise. A hand-drawn art is quality, and that's no lie. What's the name? That's Christian Chandler. 1, 2, 3. Say, what's the name? Christian Chandler. What's that name? Christian Chandler. What's the name? Christian Chandler. Alright.
15th January 2010. This was a video uploaded on this date in which Chris addresses 4 people associated with Asperchu and the Asperpedia: Alec Benson Leary, the creator of Asperchu; Evan Christopher George, the creator of the OC Sonichu that Chris ripped off as his inspiration for Simone LaRose Chew; Mao Bamboo Ling, the webmaster / S.O.B for the Asperpedia; and finally, Sean August Watley, a man who made the comics Sonichu is Dead, Sonichu is Gay, and Moon Pals, all of which are centered around riling up and parodying Chris.
This message is for Alec, Sean, Evan, and even Mao. You know what? I dare you 4, all 4 of you, to come to my house at 14 Branchline Court, Ruckersville, Virginia, 22968, United States of America, and we'll see who stacks out better, the original or you crappy copiers.
As an extra note, I would like to make it known that Mao Ling is yet another alias of the infamous Clyde Cash, which I actually didn't know before researching for this video. I'm not really sure how to go about saying that. According to the Quickie, this is a backwards title that is worded in a mix of 1337, or Leet speak, and pseudo-Spanish. It translates to Love Sonichu and Hate Asperchu. This video was uploaded by Chris on January 15th. In it, he tries to brainwash his audience into loving Sonichu and hating Asperchu using Spanish, backwards speech, and subliminal messages.
Captain's log. Stardate, I believe it is the 15th of January 2010. As usual, I will have 2 more pages tonight. I hope you all enjoyed the last page where Crystal finally got out of the mirror. But recently, I am reminded of an old Spanish expression which goes simply as "Tú necesitas ukrepsa eta y usino si va per ganar felicidad por vida. A couple of strong verbs in that statement. Say it with me. Ukrepsa eta. Ukrepsa eta. Ye usinos evol. Usinos evol. Alright, stay safe and have a good day. Bye.
Asperchu is a horrendous joke. This is a video that Chris filmed and uploaded on January 17th on the advice of Vivian G. In it, Chris reviews the storyline of the Asperchu comics and threatens Alec, Mao, and Evan with his church pastor and the FBI. He also wishes that the spirit of his dead dog, Patty, will eat their souls. He cites several issues he has with the portrayal of himself, Sonichu, and other characters in the Asperchu comic, as well as issues such as the comic having graphic violence, strong language, slander, nudity, and sexual content. He doesn't seem to realize that almost all of these things can actually be found in his own comic, and that was the very reason that Alec included them in the first place. I also find it pretty funny that Chris claims that he used to have a Buddha belly and man boobs, despite never having lost weight.
Captain's log. Stardate, January 17th, 2010. I am here at this point recording this video to make it perfectly clear, although it was a bit of a mistake for that last video I made. But you know what? Regardless of that video, I shouldn't have had to make such a video, because I could just show you all the evidence, as I have just read through the entire bunch of pages of Alec's Asperchu, unedited, all fresh from the website, organized by page number, in my playlist. First off, just to name a few things, there are the obvious sturdy slanders and obvious references, to which I mean the old Buddha belly that I used to have, exaggerated man boobs, and even the goatee I used to have. I had one time, and he makes his Asperchu character wear nearly every shirt I wear, nearly every shirt, and a crappy copy of a medal. My shirts. And then to make matters worse, he goes and besmirches my dog by making a crappy copy of my dog. The spirit of Patty will have his soul for dinner tonight. She will be haunting your nightmares, Mr. Leary. And of course, even including the unapproved recreation of my person within his pages, as you can see right here. You can find all these on his Asperpedia. That was issue C, page 19, by the way. And then, even worse, starting on page C29, he sets me on fire. He sets me on fire. And then even worse, continues, let me be on fire on page 30. I swear, if that ain't the most outrageous thing that he has ever done against me. But I could definitely reference a few more instances of where he actually is considered peeing on himself within his own comic series. Starting, of course, with a few from his first book of graphic nudity or sexual reference on page 3 of his Zero book. Even worse off, on page 10, and while he's in that Burger King, with all his goddamn homosexual references as well. And he's got like a whole number of them I could read you a list off of. You can find such nude images on Zero Book 0, pages 3, 10, 13, 14, 18, and Book A, 12, 13, 18, 19, 23, 29, Book B, 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 15, 18, 19, 20, 22, 24, and Book C, page 2. I put in so many, but like I said, put in so many homosexual references between Books 0, B, and 1. And he uses uncensored swear words such as shit and ass in between all of his books. So many goddamn of those. And his A and B books are anti-religious. Anti-religious in those two books. That little son of a bitch, he's basically peeing on his own self. Now look, I'll admit I have done my little share of nudity within my few pages, within a couple of pages, but they were censored by either images of lemon for vagina and bananas for dick. And it was and that book was finally finalized and organized so that it'd be appropriate for all those of ages, TVY7 and such. And if I ever said a swear word within my book, I would censor it. But he does not censor his own swear words. But like I said, he's basically gone to the things again. He's basically mocking me with the references of myself. Between the belly, the man boobs, the goatee, the glasses, numerous shirts, a fake medal, wearing a copy of my dog, an unapproved recreation of myself and my son and my characters, and even sets me on fire. It makes his quote unquote Sonichu clone go against me as not being the original creator of the original Sonichu. Now, the original Sonichu of that thing can be caught in the wild. So therefore, as far as I'm concerned, that's just another one he caught from the wild and drew as his own, a clone basically. Just another individual. Aside from the original Sonichu that only lives in Quickville, and also in reference to the unapproved use within book number 0 on pages 19 to 24, including the homosexual references. He supposedly thinks that there's this law change in Quickville, and it is wrong for him to quote Quickville at all within his book. And no such changes, as he has said, has happened within Quickville. He wishes he knows my Sonichu Revolution and all my electric hedgehogs as well as I do, but he cannot, because he is not me, the original creator. He is not me. So, I'd send this message again to Alec, Evan, and even Mao. I have less offense with Sean, by the way, but to those three, die in hell. And I hope the soul of my late dog eats at your souls and kills you in your sleep. But aside from that, his book is the pages within the so-called Asperchu series. They are definitely ludicrous and horrendous and horrific. Even as horrific as within Vivian G's own book. And my pastor, Elizabeth Foss, my pastor has read the book from cover to cover, and she hates it. My reverend hates it. And I don't like it either, because it is of disgrace and slander and mockery of my person and my character. just about as much, but actually this is worse. The Asperchu and everything there, that is worse than that book. I'm sorry, Vivian, but that book is just no good. And I'm definitely going to let my pastor know about the Asperpedia and the Asperchu, and through all the through her powers within her church and the congregation, and even the FBI, we will see you in Minnesota and take you down personally, Mr. Alec Basin Larry. We get the FBI on our side. Your mockery of my person is not appreciated. Other than that, I leave with most everybody else in peace. Have a good day. Except for you three, of which I mentioned earlier.
Mailbag 41. While a multitude of questions were received for Mailbag 41, COGSDev decided to move all the non-Asperchu questions to Mailbag 42, meaning 41 was filled with only questions pertaining to Asperchu. Chris, enraged, decided to not answer any of the messages, and actually just deleted them instead. In their place, he wrote this angry manifesto on January 19th, clarifying his stance to the trolls. Attention to all people who have been reading Asperchu. Allow me to be perfectly clear about the repetitive questions that I would rather not answer, because I have no connection or association with Alec or Asperchu whatsoever. So get ready for itemized itinerary. 1. Alec and his crew have no right whatsoever on my original Sonichu/Rosechu characters. I never gave him or his crew any permission to use them at all. 2. I never gave him permission to place any advertisements for his low-rate work and copycat website. He bought Jack Thaddeus out wrongfully. I still disapprove of his ads in any shape or form, regardless of image content. 3. I have no contact with Alec, and until he removes his advertisements from my Wikipedia, I am reluctant to have contact with him on topics other than him removing all of his ads from my Wikipedia as a sign of peace and goodwill. 4. The Wikipedia is designed mainly for the original Sonichus and Rosechus in and around Quickville, Virginia. Alec and his blocky drawn characters are in Minnesota, and therefore are not associated officially with Wikipedia or the world of Quickville. 5. At the time, I have done comparison drawing. Within the recent 12 pages I have drawn and uploaded between his drawing style and mine. Obviously, mine is the superior, because it is more pleasant to look at, and it was hand-drawn, versus computer-drawn, which Alec and his crew have chosen for their media. Officially, I still have no association with Alec at all, even after this short-time addition within the 10th book. 6. Asperchu is not my character, period. 7. From this day forward, any and all future messages that do not address Sonichu, Rosechu, Quickville, myself, Christian Weston Chandler, or anything that originated only on the Wikipedia will be deleted. Address all Asperchu inquiries only to Alec Benson Leary on his copycat website. So there, and thank you for understanding. Asperchu Parodies. Because he was still writing and drawing Sonichu issues 10 and 11, Chris incorporated parodies of characters from the Asperchu comic into his story. Because these characters were already parodies of Chris's characters, they became parodies of a parody. These characters were Michael Sonichu, based on Alex Sonichu, Kitty Rosechu, based on Alex Bubbles Rosechu, Bobby Sonichu, based on Alex Wild Sonichu, Trisha Rosechu, based on Alex Angelica Rosechu, Swift Sonichu, based on Alec's Magi-chan Sonichu, and Wisp Sonichu, based on Alec's Punchy Sonichu. Chris also created a parody version of Asperchu himself, calling him Mitch Sonichu. Help Hati. Chris uploaded this image on January 20th in support of the country Hati, which had been devastated by a massive earthquake on the 12th of January. It should be noted that Chris did this a full 7 days after Alec Benson Leary had created an Asperchu image in support of the country, so Chris likely only did it to try and one-up him. In addition, both Simone LaRosechu and Sonichu can be seen in the background, along with a sign claiming that they are brother and sister, making it possible that this was a shot at Evan Christopher George as well. Mailbag 43. Also on the 20th, Chris would answer this mailbag, in which there was a comment from Evan Christopher George, again demanding that Chris remove Simonla from the comic and asking him if he thinks Quickville really exists. Chris says this in response. No. As a matter of fact, your Sonichu came to Quickville while I was holding a town meeting, came up to Simonla, Sonichu's sister, while the true wild Sonichu was with her. Sonichu told Simonla that you wanted her back home as quickly as possible. Simonla refused heavily. She is very happy in Quickville, Virginia, rather than the cockshack known as ECGville. How is that so-called city pronounced, anyway? It sounds like a very ecky ailment, possibly cold-like. Sonichu uses force, yet Wild attacks him with his razor leaf and unleashed his grasp of her. Wild says, the lady said that she does not want to return with you. Sonichu replies, listen, shock breath, I'll quake you away in a rock's throw. Wild says, well, before you can even throw a rock, I will have quick as a flash vine-whipped you and launched you to fly back to your villa of Eck. Wild launches his vine whip, which was super effective against Sonichu's ground-type body, and throws him back to that city in Minnesota. Later, Sonichu reports to you that she refuses to return to you, and you realize that with my GDC powers, you have to let it be and move on in peace in real life. I am the great director Chandler. Christ, you know what I just realized? This sounds like a kid playing like roleplay with Legos or whatever and saying, no, this is what happens. My guy is better than your guy. At the time, people thought he was just being petty and childish, but we would later learn that Chris really does believe that the characters in his comic are real in some other dimension and have actual thoughts and feelings of their own. The delusion deepens. Young Adult Social Group. On the 21st of January, Chris would tell Vivian G that he was attending a young adult social group in the hopes of meeting people that he could be friends with in real life, and also show off his comic work. Here, he would meet and begin corresponding with a young woman who will be referred to as the Wallflower. The reason for this is that, prior to her later cutting off ties with Chris after having a falling out with him, this person would request that her name be removed from the Quickie and the Wikipedia. Cogsdev would comply with this request, and so you will not find her name anywhere on these websites. I have done my own research, and I did manage to find her name elsewhere, but I will not be revealing it, as I feel it would be inappropriate for me to do so. In any case, she and Chris would begin talking over email on January 25th, and Chris would later try to go on a date with her. However, she told him she wasn't interested in a relationship and wanted to remain friends. As you might have guessed, Chris was convinced that if he just kept asking, she would eventually fall for him. 22nd January 2010. On this day, Chris would have his first phone call with Alec Benson Leary, who would record both this and all subsequent phone conversations with him. The two discuss the differences between their comics and try to come to an understanding, but that doesn't happen. Alec is very civil with Chris the whole time, but still tries to get him to see that he's being a hypocrite, which also doesn't happen. In the call, Chris seems to think that his chaotic combo and the parody versions in Alec's comic are the same characters, despite Alec trying to correct him on this. This goes hand in hand with Chris taking his parody characters and putting them in his own comic while renaming them, trying to actively retcon the Asperchu comic in the pages of Sonichu. Chris is also under the impression that these characters think and feel and have wants in their own, as if they are sentient.
Asperchu has a girlfriend, Dixie Chew.
No, actually, I read further in the book, and Dixie Chew dumped his ass.
Well,
and went
come on,
back
she
to
doesn't.
Jonah.
She doesn't. No, she doesn't mean that. She doesn't mean that. They're destined to be together, Chris. I mean, you see those undertones? I mean, that's where this whole comic is going. And besides, it still means he's straight. I mean, even if a girl does dump him, what does it matter? He went after a girl. He didn't go after a boy. Like you said, Sonichu is his brother. I mean, why would he, even if he was gay, why would he go for his brother? That's just sick.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you
anyway,
think?
Okay. Well, well, listen. How about this? In your comics, when you in the future, or in re-referencing the past pages, the Sonichu that is Asperchu's brother, you just refer to him as Michael, and the wild you refer to him as Bobby, the Angelica, Trisha, etc., just like I said in my page.
But
and this can be Asperchu's nickname.
But Chris, those aren't really their characters' names. I mean, Bobby and Mitch and I forget the other names. I think you renamed Bubbles Kitty, something like that. I mean, those aren't their names. They have the same names as your chaotic.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you see, when I gave the chaotic combo characters those names originally in my books, those would be their nicknames. They're all Sonichus and those Chus individually, but they're just of different types. Like you look like without the nickname, he would be Grass Sonichu. Without the nickname, she would be Water Rose Chew, Flying Rose Chew, Fighting Sonichu, Sonic Sonichu.
Okay. I understand what you're saying. Well, see, there's one of the differences though, because in my comic, those are really their names. I mean, Angelica, Punchy, Bubble.
No. You see, but those are actually their names in my book. In my books.
They're nicknames, you said. In my comic, they're their actual names. That's the difference.
No, I'm talking in reference to the Pokemon game. If you want to name your Bulbasaur, they call it giving it a nickname, but really it's just giving them their name. So therefore, the Grass Sonichu in my book is wild. The Water Rose Chew in my books are Bubbles, etc., etc. So
Chris,
it would work better if you just take the names I suggested for your variations of those characters and just reference to them as such.
Chris, my characters aren't Pokemon though. I don't draw Pokemon. That's not how it works in my comic.
You have been drawing Pokemon. Sonichu is an electric hedgehog Pokemon.
I thought he was a Sonichu. I mean.
Chris would also record a 2-part video and upload it on January 22nd. In it, he denies making his parody Asperchu/Mitch Sonichu into a homosexual after giving him a makeover in the pages of his comic, causing him to stop dressing like Chris.
Captain's log, stardate January 22nd, 2010. First off, I want to give a shout out to the Portland Sonichu fan club, their president Megan, and their vice president Brad, who did this song that's playing on in the background. Sent it to me on CD here. Thank you. And also to Becky, who's doing a paper on me as a modern cartoonist. I appreciate that. Thank you. Anyway, I stand strong. I continue to draw the pages. Yes, they will be uploaded bulk. I mean, if I can't get 5 in a single day, then I'll get them up the next day. But at least I'm doing the average of 2 pages a day. That stands strong. Anyway, also, the makeover I did, you know, I just received I just answered a new bunch of messages in the mailbag. You know what? I say this. Think about, like, on Home and Garden, the Learning Channel, even on Discovery, and even on MTV. There's such home remodeling, cooking cuisine, and myth-busting shows, and even Pimp My Ride. And would you call the people on those shows homosexuals for giving something else or somebody else a makeover? No, no, you don't. So that myth is busted. And also, I still say what I said against Evan and those people on there. Anyway, I'll leave y'all with that. And obviously, the Asperpedia is going down because Alec and his crew are shooting themselves in the foot. I would never do blood and gore. That's just gross. I mean, if you're not queasy, then come back to Sonichu. Right.
Alec Call 2. Alec and Chris would have another phone call on January 28th. This one goes much the same way as the first. However, we do get more insight into why Chris believes that characters he draws are sentient and have thoughts and feelings. He references the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which, if you don't know, is a movie about a world where cartoon characters and real people live side by side. Chris seems to think that this somehow reflects reality, and that there are other dimensions where cartoons take place, and in those worlds, those characters are real and sentient.
What if your parents had named you Asper? Because they were like as if like a fourth tail, you had Asperger. You would have Asperger's.
Well,
but you would not want that. But it was being treated, wanting to be treated as an equal in society. You would not want to be called Asper because that emphasizes the mental condition you have.
Okay, Chris, that's part of the again, the character flaw. Asperchu has things weighing him down. He has, curses and not literal curses, but, he has detriments to his life that weigh him down as a character, and he has to work to overcome those. That's part of what makes a good character. I mean, you wouldn't make a character that's just, all powerful and perfect in every way and has no real problems ever, would you? That'd be kind of boring. Complex characters have problems that they overcome.
Yeah.
And it takes time to overcome a serious problem. I mean, you just renamed him Mitch. I mean, that wouldn't do it. You can't just go in and snap your fingers and just wave the problem away. And I mean, one, that's not realistic, and two, that doesn't make for good fiction. I mean, all the suspense and drama you're building up, your readers wouldn't really like that if you just kind of hand waved it away. Don't you think?
All right. Okay, but still.
Think about it like this. Superman is named Superman because he's super, right? And Superman is one of the most popular characters.
I mean, as an individual within his own world, outside of your control, Asperchu would not want that name. He would be in agreement with me and probably want to change his name to something like Mitch.
But the thing there is, Asperchu is not outside my control because it's a comic, and I am the creator and, manager of his comic universe. So as his creator, I decide what Asperchu wants and what he doesn't want and what his personality is like. I mean, don't you think?
Fairly. Have you ever watched the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yes, I have. It was a good movie.
Yeah, you got this whole toon world there. And within that, it would coincide with the comic book world, and every individual comic, published or unpublished, drawn all together. And within the world actually would reside your Asperchu, that he would be with his individual thoughts, and she gave him an adult attitude within his individual thoughts. He would hate that having the name of Asperchu because it emphasizes his mental problem. or his special condition. And it's like if his process of wanting to move on from that and become more accessible in society, that he would not want a name that would make him feel
okay,
like
that's
as if he's still living it, even after he's fully recovered from it.
okay. But Chris, you know, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? That was still a movie, and everything in it was predetermined by the movie writers and the director. And I mean, there is no, you know, like alternate cartoon world in reality. I mean, cartoon characters don't actually think and feel things.
You don't.
I got it. Okay, here's the question.
Obviously, are naive about that because you're not understanding that possibility of that universe actually existing.
So you do believe that when an artist creates a cartoon character, that character actually becomes real? Is that what you're saying to me?
Within that universe, yes.
But the universe is fake.
29 January 2010. This is a video that, despite the contradictory title and the fact that Chris messes up the date twice in the recording, would be uploaded on January 30th, 2010. In it, Chris would apologize to Alec Benson Leary for sending him death threats and curses. However, he only does this so that Alec might shrink or take down the inflammatory ads that were up on the Wikipedia. So he's not actually sorry, he just thinks that apologizing will help him get rid of the ads.
January 25th or 26th. Captain's log. Anyway, I'm making this video because I want to apologize to Alec for having said the things I said before and the threats, and want to make amends and peace, and I would appreciate it if the Asperpedia ads were no longer on the Wikipedia. Seriously. I asked multiple times either to shrink them down, put them in the sidebar. I have not seen shrinkage. I have to scroll down to even see anything on the Wikipedia, to even to log in, to even to make edits. And it's very annoying and frustrating. Get rid of those ads altogether. I still apologize for saying the things I had said before, but I feel like we could best be at peace if Mal of that group removes all those ads altogether. Please. Anyway, and also, I apologize for appearing to be rude in the mailbag responses and deleting and editing some letters, but I can't deal with some topics that get brought up. It's just beyond my comprehension sometimes. And it bothers me. Okay? So, I promise to be nicer in my responses. Okay.
In a phone call on February 1st, Alec would tell Chris that he was not satisfied with the apology video and would ask that he make a new one, since he still didn't own up to anything specific, such as the death threats, and also spent most of the video making demands of Alec. Quick address to Royal Board. This is a video that Chris uploaded on February 1st, 2010. In it, he addresses Miss Abigail Murdoch of the Royal Board of Certification in London, England, regarding a copyright issue between Sonichu and a character called Sonichu, the Eclectic Hedgehog Digimon, created by Mr. Blockley. Chris calls out Mr. Blockley for being a troll and therefore decides to include a version of Sonichu, the electric Digimon, in his comic, who he depicts as a stereotype of a homeless Jamaican drug addict called Enos. Thank you, Chris. Very progressive of you. As of August 2021, a Reddit user on r/ChrisChanSonichu would claim that they were the person who was behind this mini trolling scheme in a post that reads as follows. Back in late 2009, I used to be an avid follower of Chris. I lived in London, and my girlfriend at the time lived in Moscow, where I am originally from. I had nothing to do, and my university life was making me suicidal. For context, this was around the time the Jimmy Hill saga was wrapping up, and since I was going to the post office to send my girlfriend letters almost every single day, I decided to send a letter to Chris, as his address was public and he kept checking his mail regularly. I wrote a letter claiming there was a Royal Board of Certification in London trying to figure out a copyright dispute on some shit like Sonichu the Eclectic Digimon. Very inspired, yeah, I know. I printed the letter on super thick stamped paper and packaged it into one of those thick red Royal Mail envelopes, not thinking much about it at all, as I never thought Chris, after all the trolling attempts he went through, would give it a second glance. Chris, being Chris, however, made an entire video about the letter and the theoretical author of the Sonichu Digimon series. Afterwards, he inserted the author, a Mr. Blockley, into Sonichu 10 as Enos. Why was he named Enos, and why is he an elderly Jamaican man, I'll never know, but Chris missed literally everything I inserted into the letter to make it somewhat amusing for other trolls. He pronounces the name Mudak, which is a Russian cuss word, as Budak. I remember I talked to my girlfriend about my fascination with Chris at the time, and she wasn't too happy, telling me that trolling an autistic man is not cool. I ceased correspondence with Chris shortly thereafter. With all that has happened with Chris this year, I feel a strange sense of regret over what I did. Ultimately, my trolling attempt was very half-hearted, but even this tiny throwaway letter I typed up and sent off within the space of an hour made him put a lot of time and effort into making an entire video to a non-existent government organ in UK, and invent an entire racist caricature old man for his comic. Every tidbit of attention toward him is magnified 100-fold in his world. Side note, buddy, I don't think you have to worry about that. Chris did not put any effort into that video. And even though my own attempt at trolling was rather harmless in comparison to entire criminal organizations that got money from Chris and ultimately landed him, not without his own volition of course, in prison, I still wish I never took part in a trolling campaign that, to be fair, a lot of people took part in. Participation in what Chris did is a really dark and depressing thing, and now I realize that fully. Thank you for reading, and please feel free to ask me any questions you might have. God, that was a little overdramatic. So another side note, I'm not sure how this guy missed it. Maybe because he is from Moscow originally, as he says his English isn't 100% great, but the character is called Enos because it is Sani backwards. So I think it's a fair assumption that he's mistaken, and that the character in the comic is not a representation of the author, but a representation of the Sonichu Eclectic Digimon character. Reddit really does bring out troll's remorse, doesn't it? Address to Mao, the S.O.B. This is a very short video uploaded on February 1st, in which Chris threatens and curses Mao Ling of the Asperpedia, and demands that he remove the ads on the Wikipedia.
This message is to Mr. Mao of the goddamn Asperpedia. Your ad right now, what you have up there on my Wikipedia, that's just wrong. You're imitating Jack Thaddeus now, and I do not appreciate it. Either you remove your ads altogether, or I will have your head on this. I'm already having your head on this because as much as I have a curse on, I possibly have a curse on me, you Addressed to Mr. Mao of the Asperpedia. Take down the ads, or prematurely rot.
In the video, you can tell he's really taking offense at the ads now. That's because they had changed from just Asperchu ads to ads of a much more flagrantly homosexual and erotic nature. There was even a drawing uploaded as an ad that depicted Chris fingering his mother in an imitation of the "she came for quick" image of himself and Megan he'd drawn years earlier. Foreshadowing intensifies. On February 2nd, Chris would write a blog post asking his fans to spam Mao's email address with complaints and demands for him to remove the ads from the Wikipedia. Apologies to Alec and Evan. This is Chris's amendment to his apology video as per Alec's instructions, which was uploaded on February 1st, just after his Mao video. He fulfills most, but not all, of Alec's requests, and also manages to agree that Simone LaRosechu will be removed from the comic and be given back to Evan Christopher George, because he is the creator of Sonichu.
Captain's Log, February 1st, 2010. I would like to take this moment to apologize to Mr. Alec Benson Leary for the curses and death threats and mislabelings I have placed upon him, such as not reading his own quote-unquote fan mail and all that. And also I apologize for misunderstanding his Asperchu as being a parody and labeling it as such, as much as it is his original character. Asperchu is Alec Benson's Larry character. Alec Benson's... Try saying that 3 times fast with plurals. Asperchu is Alec Benson Leary's own creation, not mine. And I retract all the past statements I have made against that, and of his book being anything parodic or copycatishly to anything in my book. Anyway, along with that, I also would like to apologize to Evan for offending him and by taking false claim of his Sonichu character, and I'm happy to give that back to him. And I retract all ownership of the Sonichu character. And I'll leave y'all at that. So, yeah. My respective apologies to all of y'all on the Asperpedia. Hope we can get along and maybe be less offensive advertise-wise. Okay. Be safe and have a good day.
Alec would later call Chris and let him know that he had not fulfilled all of his requests, which included apologizing for calling him naive, and also apologizing to Mao and Sean, which he did not do in the video. Chris would attempt to dodge the call by pretending to be his own mother, telling him that he needs to let the cat out. I am alive. This was a video uploaded on February 4th. It was made in response to ads on the Wikipedia that stated that Chris had died. He reluctantly gives a forgiveness blessing to Mao, and also apologizes to Alec for something that he drew about him in Sonichu Issue 10. You see, after a battle in the comic, the characters go to the home of the comic version of Alec Benson Leary. There, they discover 4 female Rosechus that were being held captive in his basement. Chris denies that they were there as sex slaves, and instead refers to them being kept like hamsters. He also uploads another very short video as an addendum to this one.
C-Log, February 4th, 2010. First off, I'm not dead, and I have a few announcements to make. Don't listen to that stupid Mao and his advertisements. Do I look dead to you? No, I'm alive, safe, well, and healthy. As for the announcements, I admit Alec has a sizable fan base, possibly greater than my own, currently. I originally had permission for use Sonichu in my comics from Evan, but then he took it away. Simona was not mine, so I've given it back to him by killing her later. I've been editing Simona article. I'll just delete it altogether later today, or later on. I apologize to Alec for calling him naive multiple times. And apologize to Mal. Here's a forgiveness blessing. Forgiveness blessing. There you go. I just been forgive me, but I just had to dig a bunch of snow. It's snowing now. My car's stuck. And I apologize to Alec for taking Asperchu and his recreated characters for re-editing and whatnot. There'll be a page later explaining all that. That was another apology I made to him earlier about pretending my mother. I apologize for accusing him for female entrapment and rumors about rape. It was never meant to be rape. It was just like, you know, he had those 4 rose chews in his basement, kept them in cages, treated them like hamsters. Giant hamster wheels, water bottle, food pellets. No rape. Just hamsters. You don't rape a hamster. And I had no excuse for not updating them some days. But real life just happens, though. That's my only excuse, real life. Other than that, I have no excuse. And I apologize for disrespect in the mailbags and belating updates. Yeah, so with that, I'll leave you all with that. And I'm alive, safe, well. Okay, have a good day. Oh, and one more thing. I admit that I trolled Alec in a sense like I was trolled before, and I apologize for that. I didn't want to leave that detail out. I trolled Alec, and I apologize for that. And I will not troll him anymore. Okay.
Earlier that day, Chris had another phone call with Alec, where Alec gave him a list of 18 things that he needed to do because his apologies were insufficient, and he kept trying to lazily weasel his way out of compromising. The list goes as follows. Alec's demands for Chris were as follows. Admit that Alec has an greater fan base. Admit that he asked Evan permission to use Simonla. Admit that Simonla was never Chris's creation. Admit that he attempted to edit the Wikipedia article to say that Simonla was his creation. Acknowledge that Evan took away rights for Chris to use Simonla and that Chris has been ignoring this. Apologize for using the word naive about Alec. Apologize for cursing Mao and give a forgiveness blessing to him. Apologize for stealing the false chaotic combo and Asperchu from Alec. Make apologies in a comic page. Apologize for impersonating his mother off camera, not in a video. Admit that Chris has been trolling Alec. Apologize for insinuating that Alec keeps female prisoners in his basement and rapes them. Admit that he doesn't have a good excuse to not upload pages every day. Apologize for disrespecting his fans. Violently kill Simonla in the comic. Wear Sonichu medallion and high school ring while filming the video. Admit Sonichu is a doomed franchise. Not look insincere. Some of these were sort of addressed in the I Am Alive video, but some weren't. Alec Call 7. On February 6th, Evan Christopher George would issue a DMCA takedown request, causing CogsDev to shut down the Wikipedia. This was because Chris had not uploaded the comic pages depicting Simonla Rosechu's death in a timely manner, and Evan had gotten tired of waiting and wanted to make sure Chris knew he was serious. Alec explained as much to Chris in a phone call on February 8th. He also expressed to Chris that he was still not satisfied with his latest apology video, citing how half-assed and insincere it was, but decided that he was not going to ask Chris to make a new one because he clearly wasn't getting through to him. Because of this, the Wikipedia was completely shut down and was replaced with a link to the Asperpedia. However, because of a glitch, this link would actually redirect users to an MMO game called Dog of the Seas. 9th February 2010. This is Chris's response video to the destruction of the Wikipedia. In it, he curses the Asperpedia for Alec, Mao, Evan, and Sean, and tries to use his psychic powers to grant them death, misfortune, and imprisonment. Chris melodramatically declares that they have destroyed what was undestroyable, and that they will pay dearly for what they've done. He promises to do whatever is within his power to rebuild the Wikipedia and also take down the Asperpedia 4.
Captain's Log, February 9th, 2010. As much as it is to my dismay I have to point out, but you can thank Alec, Evan, Sean, and Mao on the Asperpedia, because I got confessions from them, and they have done so already. They took down my own Wikipedia. They even prohibited me from being able to make any updates because of that goddamn Evan. If I could go back to before November 2007, I would have never viewed that damn ED page, and that I would have never had to deal with you damn dirty trolls. But I know every last one of you now, and I have suffered through so much torment, and this one really takes the cake. And you all just want a response from me. You get one hell of a response. And all my true loyal fans can blame those on the Asperpedia, those 4, because they have done the wrongest. They took away that which inspired their own comic pages. They destroyed what was undestroyable, but can be rebuilt. And I will rebuild it with my own help and my own funds. I have people on the inside. The Wikipedia will be backed up. And I never wanted to kill Simona. But I was practically blackmailed by that goddamn Evan. I would have him in a psychic link within my psychic powers, frozen in time, and then I would put him in the jail cell, as with the same fate between Alec, Sean, and Mao. And after what they have done unto me so far, which they did not have to do, but they did, and they are all guilty of tormenting me like they have, I would have them executed. And I don't care what they think or what they say. This is my stand against you 4. Rot in hell! Anyway, everybody else, have a good day. I'm still shoveling snow and drawing and coloring, regardless of there being a website or not. Good day.
Sonichu Revolution. The Wikipedia was restored on February 14th after Chris sent Evan pages detailing Simona's death, which he leaked. However, the ad spaces on the Wikipedia would be filled with images promoting the Sonichu Revolution comic, a comic made by Alec Benson Leary based on the idea of a supposed reboot of the Sonichu comics that had been floating around in the mailbags during this time. The comic depicts Chris's version of Sonichu canon, and doesn't have anything to do with the Asperchu series. In this comic, Sonichu realizes that copyright infringing characters are hampering the success and marketability of the series. So, he teams up with Chris and Mitch Sonichu in order to remedy this. Their solution is to brutally kill all copyright infringing characters. Simonla is chopped up with axes. 2 Raichus are blown to bits by Sonichu using a shotgun. Sanchu, the pizza ninja robot, is talked into killing himself. Patty-chan is exorcised because she has demonic powers, and a bunch of Sonichu and Rosechu Pokeballs are set ablaze. Finally, Chris kills Mitch Sonichu with an axe, and thus, all copyrighted characters are gone. Also, on February 4th, Chris updates his blog, explaining that issue 10 was almost finished, and that he was progressing in a relationship with a friend who was a girl. This was, of course, the Wallflower, who he had been corresponding with frequently, and who had no idea that Chris was not respecting her wishes to still remain friends. Wallflower emails. Speaking of the Wallflower, let's go over some of the emails exchanged between her and Chris during this time, since there's really nowhere else to talk about them. Chris tries to go on a date with her several times, though nothing has panned out thus far. First, they were going to go to a Celtic Woman concert, though she ended up going with one of her friends instead. Then, they were supposed to go to a restaurant, but she canceled on him. Because the Wallflower is a writer, Chris and her discuss collaborating on a story about owls, as a fun way to practice their creative writing skills, and because the Wallflower really likes owls. Alec Call 8. Chris and Alec had a call, at Chris's request this time, on February 18th. In this call, Chris complains about Sonichu Revolution, and claims to be overworked and unable to upload comic pages because he's too busy with household chores. Despite the fact that Chris asked Alec to call him, he tells Alec that he wants to keep the call short because he's eating dinner at the moment, which Alec is understandably annoyed at. When Alec tells Chris he's seen his house tour video, Chris tries to hang up the phone by pressing random buttons. Chris claims that he has relaxed his stance on homosexuals, and now wishes that they could be given a vaccine that would turn them normal. Eventually, Chris claims to be tired and ends the call. CWCsicle. This is the title of a short series of videos that were made by Chris sometime during the winter of 2010, but likely in February, based on the titles of the MOV files. Chris would send this out as an entry to the Jackass 3D prank contest, in which users would submit plans of pranks or stunts to try and win an appearance in the movie. It seems likely that Chris was convinced to do this by trolls and not as an actual entry into the contest. Also note how I said plans for pranks. Videos of actual pranks were not part of the contest. Despite this, Chris's entry was him taking his dick and sticking it into the snow for 15 minutes. Chris did not win the contest, nor did he willingly release this video. It was leaked by trolls.
Hi, I'm Christian Chandler, and this is Frozen Stalactite. I'm going to put my dick in the snow, and I'm going to leave it in there for about 15 minutes. Currently it's 12:38 according to my cell phone clock. If there's one clock you cannot change, it's the one on your cell phone. Okay, see y'all in 15 minutes. Yeah, about 6 minutes in now. Ooh, boy, it's cold. I've had about 6 minutes in now. I've had previous experience with freezing my dick, and I've even stretched it a bit. Right, I'll be checking back in 7. Alrighty, it's 12:53. Let's pull me out. Oh, whoa. It feels blue. God, look at all that snow all over me. There's the hole again. Kids, that is definitely something. Everybody, I dare say there's one stunt you should not try at home. Peace out.
Christian Love Day. Uploaded on the 23rd of February, this video sees Chris putting forth the idea of a Christian Love Day, which supposedly would be a day to celebrate freedom from trolling, persecution, and loneliness. This holiday would just happen to fall on the 24th of February, his birthday, revealing that it would be a holiday meant to inflate Chris's ego. He ends the video by reciting part of a speech from the movie Independence Day. It should also be noted that it seems as though someone else is holding the camera used to film this video, and that it is not the same camera Chris usually uses, due to its noticeably better quality.
Good morning. In less than an hour, Sonichu fans from here will join others from around the world, as you will be witnessing the largest personal change in the history of mankind. Mankind. That word should have new meaning for us all today. We cannot be consumed by our petty differences anymore. We will be united in our common interests. Perhaps it is fate that today is Mexico's Flag Day. And we will once again be saluting an image of our freedom. Not just from trolling, loneliness, or persecution, but also from heartbreak. We are fighting for our right to love, to be honest. And when the sun sets today, the 24th of February will no longer be known as only a Mexican holiday, but as today Sonichu fans declared in one voice, "We will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We are going to live on. We are going to survive. To celebrate today, we celebrate our Christian Love Day!"
Magical Man Potion. This is a strange video. Uploaded on Chris's 28th birthday, February 24th, this video shows Chris in his room pretending to be some sort of mad scientist, or alchemist, who completed a new potion. In order to test it out, he drinks it and then slides under the table while making retching noises. Then, a stranger appears to take his place. The potion had turned him into someone else. This lasts for only a few seconds before he disappears and Chris again takes his place. This is a very notable video, as it is the first time that someone not related to Chris has entered the Chandler household, let alone Chris's room. In addition, it's possible that this person was also the cameraman for the Christian Love Day video, and the Rollin' and Trollin' video, released in July of 2009. There has been much speculation as to the identity of this mystery person, but no concrete information has ever been released. The man himself has never released a statement that could be proven to come from him, not even anonymously. Chris would later reveal that he was a friend of Kim Wilson, aka Emily.
We're gonna make us a concoction today. Then I'll make a nerd and a stalwart. Let's rinse you well. Hurry. It's not bad.
Whoa. Wow. That's not bad, actually. Feeling pretty good. Feel a little anxious. A little frisky. I wonder where a guy like me could go. Get a little action. You know? I bet you I know. I just... Oh. Oh, I need to work on...
Our needs to work on the time length. To be continued!
PS3 tutorial for my fans. This was another video uploaded on February 24th, also featuring the unknown guest from the Magical Man Potion video. In this video, Chris goes into a great level of detail explaining how his PlayStation 3 is set up, so that fans of his can have theirs customized in the same manner as his. Birthday hack. On Chris's birthday, someone would hack into his PS3 account. This was actually a troll who would later come to be known as Surfshack Tito, adopting the name of a character from the cartoon series Rocket Power that aired on Nickelodeon. Chris didn't seem to realize this right away. Time to end with a bang. Sonichu Issue 10. Chris would finish Sonichu Issue 10 on February 25th and upload the pages that day, resulting in one of the most jarring and violent issues to date. In the beginning of the issue, after Chris is rescued from the Time Void, he explains to Magi-chan and Wild Sonichu that he was briefly transported into the future during his absence, where he met a woman named Lovely Weather, who is destined to become his wife. She mistakes young Chris for old Chris and has sex with him. Scientists also use young Chris's blood to create the cure for homosexuality, and Chris brought 2 doses back with him. Back in the present, Chris musters his Sonichu forces and goes to the 4-cent garbage building in Clarksville, Tennessee. Before going there himself, Chris makes a pit stop at the Sonichu site filing facility to grab some Sonichu gear. While there, he is attacked by devil trolls, which he defeats. Chris then uses his powers to lock down the building and creates a lightning bomb, which explodes, killing everyone inside. He did this because Tripod, which hosts the Sonichu website, didn't have good enough security. Satisfied with his act of terrorism, Chris then goes to Clarksville. Once there, he is confronted by Jason Kendrick Howell and Jimmy Hill, who haven't been relevant for some time now. After besting them, Chris waits for reinforcements. While doing so, his gay nemesis, Reldnak Natsu Nakezerk, attacks him. Chris injects him with his homosexuality cure, returning Reldnak to normal. He then allows Reldnak to be with the character Kel, based on his high school gal pal Kelly Andes, who is apparently Reldnak's destined sweetheart. Chris's reinforcements arrive in the form of Sanchu and the rest of the Hedgehog Boys. Chris gets the band back together, and they play the song Revive a Zordon, which is a modified version of Cat Scratch Fever by Ted Nugent. As they do so, the 4-cent garbage building starts to crumble, as if struck by an earthquake. Inside, Jason Kendrick Howell escapes with a character called Kathleen, and decides to retire from trolling and live a peaceful life with her as his sweetheart. A character called Beel, or Bell, a representation of the devil, also escapes. 2 trolls, Clyde Cash and Jack Thaddeus, are unable to leave. The 2 demonstrate their homosexuality as they hold hands one last time, expressing remorse for trolling Chris. Then, they jump down a 72-floor elevator shaft as the building collapses, committing suicide. Chris gloats over the rubble of the building as news anchors film the destruction, reporting a very high death toll. With that taken care of, Chris and Sonichu use the power of the Sonichu crystals to power up, enter the Dark Mirror, and rescue Crystal Weston Chandler, who had been trapped there for quite some time now. Chris and Sonichu then go to the home of Alec Benson Leary, where they delete the Asperpedia, delete Mao, Sean, Evan, and Alec's accounts, and discover the aforementioned 4 Rose Chews being held prisoner in the basement, who they free. They also find the Asperchu Parodies outside, who joined forces with Chris and Sonichu and changed their names, as previously mentioned. They are cured of Asperger's and homosexuality by Sonichu. He and Chris escort them and the captive Rose Chews back to Quickville, where Chris and Sonichu confront Mary Lee Walsh and the jerk-ops of PVCC. Sonichu unbrainwashes all the jerk-ops and they leave the PVCC while Chris defeats Mary Lee Walsh in combat, though he paralyzes her instead of killing her. After she is defeated, Chris legalizes homosexuality in Quickville, though gay marriage still remains illegal. During a trip to the mall, Simone LaRose Chew is killed by a Voltorb planted in the women's bathroom by Alec Benson Leary, leaving Wild Sonichu alone to care for their egg, which hatches into a Rose Chew named Sandy, who looks exactly like her mother. The Asperpedia 4, Alec, Evan, Sean, and Mao, are rounded up and tried for the murder of Simonla and other crimes. They are eventually found guilty and sentenced to execution. Alec is killed via electric chair, Evan is chained to a wall, and Sandy Rose Chew is allowed to avenge her mother. She does this by using her drills to drill bloody holes into various parts of Evan's body, including drilling off his penis. She takes his glasses as a trophy, and then she and Wild Sonichu kill him. Sean gets hung by his wrists before he is shot by the characters Dr. Bill Schwartz, Allison Amber, and Kel. Finally, Chris uses his psychic powers to horribly twist and mutilate Mao's body, torturing him before finally causing his head to explode. Chris does all this despite criticizing Alec including blood and gore in his comic. The last few pages include a written version of the Christian Love Day speech, as well as a dedication to Panda Halo, whose art had been used as the cover for this issue. And that does it for part 13 of the Chronological Chris Chan Iceberg. If you pulled up the original image of the iceberg in order to follow along, I'm sure you'll see that I actually added several points of interest myself. This is because I found the original to be a bit lacking in some areas, so I took it upon myself to do a little extra research in order to bring you a more complete picture of this time in Chris's life. The main sources of information I used were the Quickie and Gino Samuel's documentary. You can find Gino's channel linked in the description, and you can visit the Quickie yourself if you want to do some of your own research on Chris, because I can't link to it on YouTube. I'll get working on part 14 of this series as soon as I can, in which we'll be going over more of the Asperchu saga and more of the Surfshack Tito saga. As always, like the video if you liked it, comment if you have something to say, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. I hope to see you back here soon. Bye for now.